And gamers, trainers, Pokemon, welcome to another episode of Pokemon's Health, Pokemon Meets Men's Health. I'm your host, Roy Flash Gordon. I'm here today with our guest, Marco Delelio. How are you doing, Marco?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Roy?
Not too bad. Glad to have you here. And before we get too far into it, make sure you guys, if you're enjoying the content, enjoying any content I put out thus far, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're checking us out on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Leave any comments, anything of that nature, and share with a person who you think might enjoy it. All that said, let's hop on in with Marco. Marco, can you just start with letting us know where you're from, how old you are, and what you do for a living?
I'm Marco. I go by Marcoangelo online. It's like Michelangelo, but with Marco. I am a games journalist. I write for a few different sites, but the biggest one is Game Rant. I write with a local indie media outlet with good gaming. They're Boston-based media outlet. That's how I got my start. They have a podcast every Thursday, not a gaming podcast, and another site I help run with Ryan Hebert is DevonCorp.press. I'm one of the editors. Ryan's the editor in chief. At DevonCorp, we're just talking about VGC community, VGC posts, VGC teams, anything VGC related. We're just trying to get as many people that want to tell their stories to have a place to tell their stories about VGC. And we've been pretty successful with that mission so far. I'm 33 years old. I've been around since, well, I was the prime age when Pokemon came out back in 1998. Uh, so yeah, that's a little roundup about me. My first video game actually was Pokemon Red on the Game Boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so that's a fun fact.
Yeah, that's a super fun fact. Pokemon Red was my first one as well. Not my first video game, but my first Pokemon game. So definitely special time and excited to hear more about this Devon Corp and how you began engaging with the community in the first place. So maybe take us back to what it was like, cracking open the Pokemon Red in the first place and how that led you to how you currently engage with the VGC community.
Yeah, so it was Christmas 1998. Got a Game Boy, the original brick Game Boy. I don't know if you can see if I turn my camera, you can see it still on display up on that shelf.
Oh, dope. Dope.
That's the original Game Boy I had all those years ago.
Mm.
Um, and it was my first video game. Um, and it was the 90s, so it was like there's no guides or anything. You have to like buy a strategy guide. I think I did have a strategy guide for it at one point.
Mm.
Or you just learn from people on the playground. It was a different time back then.
Yeah.
Um, and from then on, I got gold on my Game Boy Color. Then I got ruby on the Game Boy Advance. And then I skipped some of the DS era because I was going through that I'm too old for Pokemon phase.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I missed out on Gen 4 and some of Gen 5, unfortunately. But some people, their favorite gen is Gen 4. So I'm replaying it on this little device here. It's a Anbernic emulation device
Very cool.
because sold my DS a long time ago. Um, and from then, I kind of just got involved into other games. Met people through PAX East. That's how I got involved with Wicked Gaming. Um, and early into college, I went to college with Adrian Hurley. He's a New England VGC player.
Dope.
And he tried to get me into VGC. And it wasn't like a couple years prior, there was Worlds in Boston. I think it was 2016 or 2017, not sure. And I kind of just got introduced to competitive Pokemon there. And then Adrian said, "Oh, there's local tournaments all around. You can just join. I'll send you a Discord link." And this is a couple of years ago. Um, I started getting involved there, and from then I started looking into running tournaments. Became a Pokemon professor, which is, for those who don't know, that's the Pokemon's program to basically they're event coordinators.
Yeah.
They're volunteer. Um, and through Adrian, I also met Ryan, and through me and Ryan, we developed DevonCorp.press, which is a VGC resource, the news site.
Super dope. Super dope. And what kind of inspired you guys to start DevonCorp Press in the first place?
Well, Adrian came to me to introduced me to Ryan, and Ryan said he wanted to be a little bit different from like other sites where they just tell stats. They just put like teams and stats, and they don't really showcase the players as much.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of interviews with players to make like the people behind the teams, behind the ranks, and we wanted to create a place where we could tell those stories of people who play through these high level tournaments or even like local tournaments, getting involved in the community. We want to be a place where everyone can just have a voice in the VGC community and just tell their story if they have a story they want to tell.
Beautiful. That's what's up, dude. That's what's up. I appreciate it. I think there's so much cool about the community outside of the actual gameplay itself. So it's very cool to just see how people, I mean, even how you could get connected to your folks to create your site, to create DevonCorp. It's like there's a lot in between the lines of
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
right? There's a lot in between that. There's a lot of connections, there's a lot of important relationships, and a lot in those stories that I think is important to get out there. It's inspiring for folks. So thanks for what you do, dude.
Yeah, no problem, dude. That's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to do with DevonCorp.
Yeah, beautiful. Next topic on the podcast, of course, this topic of manhood, and I ask it a little bit differently each time. For now, I'll just say like, what has manhood meant to you?
Um, that's a very deep question.
Mhm,
I would have to say like manhood is similar to adulthood,
mhm,
where you have to make tough decisions. Um, I think the thing that defines a manhood is if you're at a low point, or if you have a situation where things aren't going so well, you're able to pick yourself back up and just like dust yourself off and keep going.
yeah,
Because not all the time will you have somebody to help you out. Because you gotta pull yourself out of whatever situation you're in, and be independent.
definitely. I see there is the I think a lot of us, especially like in the gamer realm, a lot of us spend time, we've been gaming since we were kids, and there, some of us really heavily focus on that and not so much the outside realms and like kind of building the skills that help us be responsible adults, right? So I think that that's an important piece right there. Just like if you are living responsibly, able to take care of yourself, choosing when it's time to pay that bill versus time to get that PS5 that's 500 plus fucking dollars, something like that, to be able to differentiate that. Very important piece of manhood. I definitely agree with that. Have you had any moments in your life where you didn't feel like you were living up to societal standard, maybe, or a standard of someone in your life, even if you agree with it or not, of being a quote unquote real man?
I'd have to say when I first moved out from families, um, it was like a totally different experience living out on your own.
Mm,
Um, Having to pay your own bills and just be responsible for basically everything in your life all at once is a big step. And there were points in my life where like I wasn't being wise with my money, or I wasn't being wise with like uh, when it came to household needs,
yeah,
and I kind of had to like push myself out of that because even then, like I was going through depression at one point where it was hard to do those things, but like uh, I became like way more mature, way more responsible over time after moving out.
yeah, beautiful. What do you think of just the just taking the lumps, learning the hard lessons that kind of push you
Yeah, yeah.
in line, or did anything kind of inspire you to like, oh man, I really got to get this stuff together?
I mean, I guess like having friends that are supportive, friends and family that were supportive, really helped me mentally, to get myself like together and out there. It was basically having friends to support you, whether it's emotional or like any kind of need you may have. Uh, kind of helped me get through like parts where it was really rough.
Yeah,
Just having someone to listen or just like give you advice is really valuable.
totally. I think that we often encounter judgment, and a lot of times that judgment can even be from people who are our friends, but just especially I think as a let's say as like a young boy growing up, I played sports, right? And we'd like mess with each other like over stuff that there's the little jesting here and there, but there's a lot of stuff that it's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't mess with each other about that, and maybe we should actually like ask some questions or like try to help or something. And
Yeah,
it's part of the journey of maturing, like especially kind of having those friendships, like where are you like actually being judgmental, and where are you being supportive of your friend, and seeing how you can help or how you can support.
exactly. Having supportive friends, knowing when to like draw the line between joking around and shooting the shit and just being serious and supportive is really important, like between friends.
Definitely. Big time. Marco, you mentioned that you sounds like you did deal with some depression at some point. I was curious if you and it doesn't have to be about the depression, but we usually ask if there's any mental health struggles that you have encountered before and how you either manage them daily if you are dealing with them still, or how you managed them when they were a bigger thing for you.
I'm not gonna go into too much specific details,
Mhm.
but I did struggle with bipolar depression for a while in my life, and it was really rough. I was at a low point for a good while, and going to like therapy, going to group meetings, going to like finding supportive friends, uh, kind of just really helped me get out of that, sort myself out. Uh, Moving out really helped. Uh,
Mhm.
like getting myself independent. That was when I was like getting out of that.
Got it.
Um, and you know, what going back on manhood, like you just gotta pick yourself up and keep pushing forward because as long as you're still breathing, you still have another chance, still have a second shot at redemption.
I like it, dude. Can I ask? So I love, being able to pick ourselves up and push through. Do you, were there times where you were allowed to, or allowed yourself to just slow down and um, just deal with the emotions that maybe come with those harder times? Like if you were sad, did you allow yourself to have the sadness and then pick yourself up before moving forward? Like what did that look like for you?
I think it's important to like have that time to experience those emotions and process them. Um, Having coping skills in place, like writing, was a huge coping skill for me.
Mm,
I still write. It's for my job now as a journalist. Just having something that you find comfort in, like a hobby or a craft, or whether like some people it's woodworking, some people it's painting miniatures, or Warhammer.
yeah.
Finding that one thing and utilizing that to get yourself through a tough time really helps you process your emotions. Has worked for me as well.
Mm, that's awesome, man. I was curious how writing maybe played into it. Can I ask, just in general, and there may be some writers out there, how you got into writing, how you built your skills and whatnot, so much so that now it is part of how you make a living.
Well, my best advice is to just keep writing and don't stop. Find people that critique your work. Don't take critique too personally. There's some people who just can't take criticism, and criticism is important for when you're trying to improve. I got my start in high school. I was writing a lot. I was really involved in literature classes, and I was writing like poetry, and uh, I had a lot of like stories I was writing, and I got recognized in high school for that, which was like really it was encouraging. It was a little enlightening. Um, I wrote for the school newspaper at one point,
Oh,
which
dude.
was fun. Uh, I even went on to like write lyrics and things that didn't really publish, just things for myself. It's
Yeah.
good to write things for yourself as well as things to share, or even with a specific person. Um, just like find places to put your work out there, and if you want to share something personal, like share it with like a few group of friends and see what they think of it. You just keep writing, honestly, just keep writing and make connections with people.
Super dope. And what is the transition from just sort of writing in school, writing for yourself to writing about games and whatnot look like? Because that feels like a pretty fun switch to
Yeah, I see what you mean. At PAX East, I think it was PAX East 2017 or 2018, I met Dom from Wicked Good Gaming. Shouts to Dom. Um, and COVID hit, and I was in his Discord server. I was listening to his podcasts. I got more involved in the community over COVID because everyone was home, and they were looking for more bloggers, more writers for the site. And I said, I'll shoot my shot. I've written my whole life, um, and started writing, and they liked my stuff so much they just gave me access to publish whatever I feel because they were so confident after a while because I got a handle of it. Um, and from then, I shared my stuff with friends. Adrian saw I was doing a lot of stuff. That's when he got me connected with Ryan over at DevonCorp. Um, and then I started writing for DevonCorp and got on LinkedIn, put my stuff on LinkedIn, all my articles and everything. I saw that Game Rant was hiring, and I applied and did a short written interview, put out a sample, and now I'm working for Game Rant along with all my other projects.
Beautiful. Beautiful, dude. Super dope, man. I love your journey. I appreciate you sharing all that with us. Can I ask our last direct Pokemon question? It's simply, what about Pokemon itself makes you happy?
I think Pokemon as a franchise has this unique community where it's generally like very positive. I haven't met many like overly negative people in the Pokemon community. So just like from the VGC aspect, I don't know much about the other communities. I've been involved in the Go community too, but Pokemon as a whole is really like a really welcoming, like wholesome community for the most part. Um, and I think that's special because a lot of online communities, like they always have like their bad apples and they tend to stand out more. But Pokemon generally doesn't have much issues with that, from my experience. So if people are looking for a gaming community that is welcoming, like people are going to support you and find like resources for you, I think Pokemon's the best for that.
Big time. I've loved it. I've loved it so much. It's been super welcoming. If you don't know something, there seems to be more people interested in helping than to call you a noob and dismiss you or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Very dope. Awesome, dude. Do you ever hit up regionals and whatnot?
haven't gone to regional yet.
Yeah,
I plan to. It's just a matter of time and
totally.
like planning, but I will eventually.
Dope, dude. Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to meet you at a regional someday soon. Those are, totally experiences, and bringing those into my life has been not just good on the fun standpoint, but good for my mental health and bringing in new friends and stuff, just being part of this community. So I'm really glad to know you. I'm glad for the presence that you have in our Discord already, just showing up and using the space and talking to people. That it's super encouraging to see. Final question. Can I ask you to just imagine that there's a guy out there struggling, and if you were able to give him some words of encouragement, what might those words be?
Goes back to what I said about manhood. No matter how bad of a situation you're in, whether it seems like you're at your lowest point, like you can't get any lower, uh, just check your pulse, like check if you're still breathing, because if you're still breathing, you can get yourself out of it, and it's gonna be a tough, hard journey. But you can get from anywhere in life to see any kind of success. It just takes time, effort, planning. Like you gotta reach out to other people. You gotta build a community around you that supports you and the things you want in life. Um, so just don't give up because don't take failure as an option. Just keep going.
Beautiful. Marco, dude, appreciate you being on. Check your pulse. That was some
Thanks.
hard shit. That was hard as fuck.
Yeah.
I love that one. I love that one. Check your pulse. Check your pulse. Thanks for joining us today, Marco, dude. I will
Thanks, man.
links around here for DevonCorp so people can check out your work. And if you want to drop any other ones, you let me know. But guys, check out Marcoangelo, very strong writer. Check your pulses. And yeah, dude, Marco, I'm gonna catch you soon.
All right. Thanks, Roy.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you give it a like, subscribe, or share with someone who you think might get something from the podcast, from the message. My goal is to get this in front of every guy who could possibly need it so they can not only feel better, but do better and be better for the world.